Hey everybody, my name is Jamie. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if this isn't your first time. Today I'm starting a new series, and in this series I am going to be showing you how to make some kid-friendly crafts that are easy to put together and can be made with hopefully items you already have in your home. So this series is really geared toward people who love to work with kids and maybe you're looking for some fun projects to do with them. A little bit of background about me: I am a children's librarian. I have been working in a public library for 26 years or so now. I started working in the library when I was 15 and started working with kids when I was about 19. So I have, quite a bit of experience working with kids. And in my job on a day-to-day basis, I probably spend about 90% of my time in the children's room working with kids, doing story times, just kind of doing general classroom visits and trying to come up with things that will engage kids and make them want to spend more time in the library, and by association of being in the library, want to spend more time reading. So I have put together crafts that we are doing in story times and just for general craft programs this month. And going forward, I'll share them each month, show you what we're doing, show you how to put them together, and show you how easy it is to make these crafts in your own home. Or if you're a librarian like me and just here looking for some ideas, probably these are craft supplies you already have in your library. So I'm going to show you what we're going to be making, and then I will quickly show you how to put them together. Super simple crafts. Because it's fall, we are doing a fall theme this month. All of these crafts will have a nice fall theme. So the first one is this tissue paper tree. Super simple to make. You can see it's really just paper and glue. I will show you how to put that one together. Next up, we have another tree, and this is for more late in September, at least here in New England, because it's apple picking season. So this is an apple tree, which uses a hand as the tree trunk and some paint. Again, simple craft supplies that you probably already have. The next one, I love these little guys, little leaf puppets with little googly eyes. What kid doesn't love googly eyes, right? So that's those. And then the last thing, it takes a little bit more prep work and may require a craft supply that you don't necessarily have in your home. These are leaf stamped bookmarks. So these are super fun and they come out so cool. So I'm going to show you how to put those together. I'll show you how to put everything together. Let's get started. All right, let's start with this fun tissue paper tree. So the only things you're going to need for this craft are a piece of blue paper to use as your background, a piece of brown construction paper to use as your tree trunk, and some fun tissue paper that you get to rip up and crunch up, and super fun, right? So we're going to get started by cutting this little piece of construction paper into a tree trunk. So you could also use your hand to make a tree trunk just like you will in the apple tree craft. However, I am going to use just my own kind of little cutout. So I just sort of start cutting off to the side here like this. I kind of cut down. I do like 3 or 4 little branches here. They almost look like really long fingers. I'll show you when I get done cutting out here, but just kind of a whimsical little design. And kids can cut whatever shape tree trunk they want, which also makes this kind of fun. Or if kids are younger, a parent can do it for them. So here is kind of the shape of my tree trunk. I didn't draw it on. You could totally draw it on beforehand, but I just sort of cut by sight. So we are going to take this tree trunk and glue it onto our paper like so. I use Elmer's glue sticks that I buy at Walmart, super cheap. It's always nice to have certain craft supplies on hand, and for me, glue sticks are definitely one of those supplies. I always have them in my house, even though my kids are, 18 and 20 and definitely aren't doing these crafts anymore. So there's our tree trunk, and then we're going to start on the tissue paper. So when I did my original one, I'm not going to go through the entire thing with you, but when I started my original project, I used all different kinds of tissue paper. I am not going to do that right now because it will take a while. This project did take me a while to put together, and I put it together for several kids at once. And it really took me about an hour to cut up strips of tissue paper and then crumple them all up so the kids could just kind of easily put them on the paper. But I am not going to do that. And this is a fun thing to have kids do themselves. When I do these projects for story times, sometimes I prep more than I would at home because we have a limited time to do the projects. So I am just going to cut up a couple of strips of this tissue paper. You could also just rip it off. And then I'm just going to rip it into, This is about this big, just fun size pieces for kids to crumple. So we've got a bunch of pieces this size, and then we're just gonna crumple them up. This is a really good project for like anger management. I just want to crumple these pieces of paper. So you can have kids do this, just crumple them all up, super fun. And then once they're crumpled into a bunch of little pieces like so, we're gonna glue them onto our tree. So if you're doing a full-size tree like this, you're probably gonna want to just do a space at a time, like a big space of tree, and just put on all the little pieces. Because we only have a few here, maybe we can pretend some have fallen to the ground, so we'll glue a piece or two to the ground because it looks like this tree is going to be pretty sparse. We don't have a ton of little leaves here. So we're just going to kind of glue them in random places just to kind of make a little tree with not a lot of leaves. I like the other tree too. I think you can really go either direction and kids will have a fun time with it. So, you know, it's all about creativity when it comes to kids' crafts. They can do whatever they want. So there's our little tree. I think this would make a really fun little display project for kids for fall. I think kids love to display their artwork, so I love to give kids projects that are fun to display, but also that parents don't mind having displayed in their homes because some of those projects I know can be a little crazy looking. So I try to find things that I think will look really cute in the house around fall. So that's how the end project will look if you use all the different colors. You could also do a really sparse little tree that's almost lost all of its leaves. Okay, on to the next project. Okay guys, this next project is so crazy easy. So these little leaf guys are just adorable. Can be used as little puppets, little friends. You can even use them as bookmarks. So all you need for this project is a little leaf template. I printed this off from the internet, just like one of those free printing sites. I just usually look up like free coloring pages for kids or something like that and find lots of stuff on Google. So I also have 2 popsicle sticks and then of course googly eyes. Not everyone has these in their house and that's okay. You can always draw on eyes at the end. So we are going to start by coloring these leaves. You can use crayons or markers. I am going to use crayons because I like the way crayons look, and I think sometimes crayons are a better choice for kids because markers tend to get very messy. So because I've already done an orange one, I'm going to do a yellow leaf this time, and it does not need to stay in the lines because we are going to cut this guy out. When I do story times, I always use those big thick crayons, but I don't have those at my house, so it takes an extra minute to color these guys. All right, now that we've got those colored, I am going to cut them out. I love projects like this because I think they're great for hand-eye coordination, for those fine motor skills for kids. It's really never too early to start working on those, and even my like preschool toddler kids love using scissors, so it gives them a chance to kind of use those skills. So we're going to cut these 2 leaves out and I'll show you the next step. All right, so I think probably the rest of this craft is pretty self-explanatory. So we are just going to glue the craft sticks onto the back of our little leaves like so. And then we're going to put on 2 little googly eyes. I like to put on 2 different sizes because I think that just makes for kind of a more whimsical little guy here. So we're going to put one eye here and another eye right here. And then we're just going to draw a little smile. So you can definitely do this part first. It doesn't really matter and kids won't care, but it's definitely easier to draw the face on before you glue it to the stick. So we'll do that with this one. We're going to put the 2 eyes on, and kids can put them anywhere they want. That's kind of part of the fun of projects like this. They kind of make their own, and you might think that they're going to do it a certain way, and they end up totally doing it a way that surprises you. So there's our little leaf guy with his smile, and we're just going to glue him onto the back of this popsicle stick. You can put the glue on the paper or the popsicle stick, it doesn't matter. And there's our yellow friend. So super simple craft. Let's move on to the next one. All right, our next craft is our apple picking craft. And so this one involves finger painting. It involves fingers and finger painting because we're gonna make our tree trunk out of our hand and a little bit of our wrist. So super simple. I'm sure most of you know how to do this, but it's just such a fun craft, and hand size will vary, so the size of the tree will vary. It's just a fun craft, and it's a fun way to see how a child's hand changes over the years, especially if you keep these old art pieces like I do. So here's what you need for this one. Brown construction paper, green construction paper, light blue construction paper. I have red paint here. You could use orange and yellow and green if you wanted to do more of like a fall scene. You don't have to do just an apple tree. I also have a little paper plate here to put my paint on, and I always keep a napkin handy because I am messy. Just like a kid, I am messy. So we are going to start off by tracing our handprint on this brown piece of paper. Then we'll cut that out. And there is our hand tree trunk. So we're going to glue that down onto the paper because we need a glue stick, and I forgot to tell you that. We're going to glue that onto our blue construction paper. Just like that. And we have a tree trunk. All right, so next we have to cut out our tree. I generally start with a half-size piece of construction paper and just kind of cut a tree shape. So having kids do this will show some creativity, but it will also give them a chance to play with scissors and use those fine motor skills. All right, and there's our tree shape. My art, I will tell you right off the bat, is never perfect. I am certainly not an artist, but I have fun with it, and I think kids do too, and that's the important thing, that they're kind of learning while doing this art, and they'll also have something really cool to show for it. So we're gonna glue that onto the top of our little hand tree here, like so, and then we get to get out the paints. So I use acrylic paint because acrylic paint washes off really, really easily, but always be careful about clothing because it's never a guarantee. So you really just need the tiniest bit of paint. You probably can't see it super well. It's right there next to my blue Lego there. And then you just have your child take the tip of their finger and dip it in the paint and then dip it on the tree wherever they want. They can do multiple apples per dip and just kind of get them all over the tree. This is such a fun activity if you're going apple picking that week. Fun for preschool, fun for libraries, fun for just doing it at home. And then you have this really cute project that your child made with their own fingerprint. So just super fun. We can even put a few on the ground because apples are always falling off the tree. I'm gonna go wash my hands so I can show you our last craft. All right, guys, last up we are doing our leaf print bookmarks. And these to me are probably some of the most rewarding crafts I've done recently because for such little effort, they look so cool. So here is one, try to get that glare off of there, but it's just the back of a leaf printed onto a bookmark. So here's another one. They just come out looking so cool. I did this project with kids ranging in age from 8 to 11 yesterday, but it can be done with all ages because it's super simple. One of the kids that I did the project with was autistic and he did a great job. I think this is a project that works well with all ages, all abilities, and yeah, it's a really fun thing to do because you get to color on leaves. So let me angle this down a bit so you can see the steps here. All right, so we have just some leaves that I grabbed from outside. I have an oak leaf here, a maple leaf, and I'm not sure, tiny little leaf. I'm sure some of you know. So for this project, all you need is a little bit of cardstock, some leaves, and markers. I always use Crayola. Who doesn't love Crayola? I also have contact paper. Not everybody has contact paper on hand or laminate, but it is handy for this project. So I am going to just use some fall colors for this one because I think those will be really fun. So I'm going to use some green, red, orange, yellow, and I am going to start with one side of this bookmark. So I am going to use my oak leaf because it's long like this bookmark and I think I can just make the entire length of it, but you can use all different leaves and just color and print to your heart's desire. So I am going to color, and the way we color on these leaves is kind of all over the leaf, but you want to make sure you're hitting the veining. So that's the part that's really going to print well onto the bookmark. So I am going to just make sure I get that stem that goes all the way down the middle, and then the veins that also go, you know, across the leaf. So we'll do some red in there. We'll do some orange next. And just sort of, I'm using the side, like the long tip here, not the tip, but sort of the thicker part of the marker. And I like using these thicker markers because this project would probably take a lot longer if I didn't. But like I said, just making sure to get those veins. Let's use some yellow. We'll do some green. And you know what? Let's do a full rainbow. I will say that these colors do tend to stay wet for a few minutes, so if you take a few minutes to color, that's okay. We're going to do blue here, and then we're going to do a little bit of purple at the top. I will also tell you this can be a messy project. All right, so here comes the fun part. Here is our bookmark. We are going to just place this leaf gently down on the bookmark, trying to keep it in the same spot, and then we're just going to press all over the leaf. So we're going to try to get every area pressed down onto the bookmark. You could also do this on just like plain cardstock. You can make cards with it, maybe like a nice fall card for a family member, and then you wouldn't necessarily have to cover it with the laminate, but I am going to do that and show you how in case you do have that. So when we lift the leaf off, it makes this really cool imprint. I use some lighter colors, so it's not going to come up quite as well on camera, but I'll do the other side as well so you can see kind of darker colors. So we're going to use a maple leaf for the back, and then maybe that small leaf as well. And we'll do just some purples and blues and greens on the back of this one, just to show you how those darker colors work. All right, so I forgot to show you what the other side of the leaf looked like last time. So there's that side. We're gonna just put it down gently on the bookmark here. And then we're just gonna press. Pressing down pretty hard everywhere. So just kind of a fun thing for kids to do. They can just press down on it as long as it stays kind of in the same general area. So let's pick that up. There's that imprint there. All right, I'm gonna do one more leaf on here, and then I'm gonna show you how to cover it with laminate. All right, so here is the last leaf, and it would be a really fun project to try to find leaves that would work really well with this bookmark project. So, you know, to go outside into your own yard and find leaves that have really interesting veins. There's our last leaf right down here, and then we're gonna cover it up. All right, so for my laminate, I am using laminate that we buy at my library, so I'm not really sure what type it is, to be honest with you, but I think you could probably buy sheets of this or rolls of this in other places and it would work fine. So I took the back of the sticky stuff off, and I'm gonna just kind of bow it down because I have been covering books for about 20 years or so, and this is how we've done it to keep bubbles out. So I'm kind of, don't want to toot my own horn, but I am a little bit of a professional book coverer. And I feel like I can use those same ideas for covering bookmarks. So we're going to take the sticky back off here. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to kind of bow down the middle and then meet the bookmark and then kind of go out to the sides. So there we go. This is the way to do it, I find, that gives you the least number of bubbles. But if you do have bubbles, you can just kind of press them out toward the outsides because we're going to be cutting the outsides off anyway. So there's our laminate cover there. There we go. And then we're just going to make sure it's pressed all the way around the edge, and we're going to cut the edging off so we just have the plastic covered bookmark. And that's it. Super fun, easy, nature-inspired craft that you can then use for years to come as a bookmark or use as, you know, a card to send a loved one. I think it would be so nice to get a card from a child who had, you know, printed with leaves. So much fun, so great to see those patterns that nature made. So I will show you that on a couple of these I did add yarn, which is super easy to do. You just punch a hole with a little hole punch and then stick in a piece of yarn. So I did that on a couple of these. And I will say, if you are going to do that, don't make the mistake I did, where I didn't realize I was going to be punching a hole and I blocked one of my words. So I wrote fall into a great book, but I blocked one of my words. So, you know. Definitely want to think ahead on these, but such a fun project for kids. So that's it for our fall projects. These were all of my September crafts that I did. I will try to get this video out a little bit earlier in October so you can see all of the Halloween crafts that I have planned for story time and just for crafting in general. And I think we have some really fun ones coming up. So I can't wait to share them with you guys. Thanks for watching and have a great crafty day.